If you have been on this healing journey for a while, there's probably something that you're going to face at some point, which is, do I continue to spend money on this problem? You might have tried therapy visits or psychiatry appointments. You might have gone to doctors. You might have gone to naturopaths. You might have gone to life coaching. You might have done anxiety programs, and you spent so much money. It hasn't worked. Every time you've tried something new, it hasn't worked. That it maybe validates that you're actually broken, that maybe this whole industry is a scam. What you are feeling is 100% valid, and it's true. If you spent so much money, you have to draw a line somewhere, right? So I want to help you navigate that. Let's get it started. Almost everybody on the healing journey that I find, my story included, all experienced this. We all had to try several things before finding the right solution. If you don't know my story, I spent so much money. In fact, a lot of people think I spent 30 grand. I actually didn't just spend 30 grand. I went 30 grand into debt. Because I was studying in Canada, I didn't have health insurance in the US. So anytime I went to this doctor, or even when I went to the ER, which was quite a few times, I was getting billed and I didn't have insurance to cover it. So my bill racked up. So not only did I have this anxiety problem that didn't seem to get better, but now I had another problem of debt. And I was young. I was in my 20s. I hadn't had debt before. Luckily, I hadn't had college debt or anything like that, but I had this thing. And so not only was it for me, okay, I need to get better, but it's I need to get better to pay this off. And the way I would look at this is really asking yourself, okay, I've invested in all these things in the past. Why didn't it work? Right? So in order to see exactly and do an analysis of what's going on, you have to identify first and foremost, why didn't something work? Right? Why didn't a life coach work? Why didn't therapy work? Why didn't medication work? Why didn't the psychiatrist work? And everybody's going to be a little bit different. What I found in my own healing journey was, well, a psychiatrist was just giving a pill. For me, that was like a Band-Aid solution. Why didn't therapy work? Well, the therapists really weren't that educated when it came to anxiety. They had some breathing techniques, and then one therapist tried to teach me about Jesus Christ, not even asking if I was Christian. So I was just going to the wrong people, really, for what I needed in this moment, right? In my healing journey. And then I obviously tried supplements. That didn't work. It's important to do an analysis of why the things you've tried before hasn't worked. Look, the reality might just be is that maybe something was working, or maybe something could have worked, but maybe you didn't put in the effort, right? You have to do a clear audit of why that didn't work. Now, once you do that, then you can approach whatever is in front of you and ask, okay, how is this different? So many times people just want to jump in because, someone promises quick relief or instant fix, or sometimes they have what we call shiny object syndrome, where they just see a new thing, so they jump on it, right? They see a new technique, they see a new coach, they see a new this, so they jump on that. When you're on the healing journey, you can't make impulse decisions like that. You have to be very thoughtful when you're moving forward to the next thing, because you learn this the hard way, right? These lessons that you learn when things don't work, they're expensive lessons, right? It's not just the money that you lose. It's the fact that you also lost the time, and you also naturally feel discouraged. It's very important that when you approach this new thing, you're asking the right questions. It needs to make sense to you, and you need to have clarity. When people join the mentorship program, which is our highest level program, it also requires the most investment. When people are joining, they're asking very, very thoughtful questions. If you notice, when you even apply to our Bye Bye Panic program, the mentorship program, the highest end program, we won't just take your money. We want to have a conversation first, right? Because we don't want someone to just jump in and just throw the money and just expect a quick fix. Because what happens oftentimes with anxiety sufferers is they'll try something, it doesn't work. You'll say, why didn't it work? Well, I don't know. I didn't find any relief, and maybe I'm just broken or I'm unique, right? Not recognizing that anything that's trying to provide quick relief isn't really the solution for you. You've tried those things. It's about learning how to respond in these situations. The approach isn't to shield yourself from anxiety, but it's learning how to respond to it. The worst thing you can do is do something and it doesn't work, and you had the wrong conclusion about why it didn't work, right? That's the worst thing you can do. If something didn't work, that's fine. Do you know why it didn't work? And so that's really important to consider whenever you're moving to the next thing, whenever you're wanting to work with somebody, ask, how is this different? and really question and challenge that person and get a good sense of understanding what's going on. There's nothing wrong with asking a lot of questions to make sure, because look, this is your anxiety, this is your livelihood, this is your well-being in general. You want to make sure, right? And if anybody gives you irritation about it, or if someone gets frustrated with you on it, that is a huge indicator that you need to step away. The fact that this person doesn't have patience to even explain what's going on to you, or if they have a sense of irritation, walk away. I'm telling you, you're going to learn a very painful lesson. It's better to learn it now. What I found is that when you find the right people, they often tell you that this is a question that they get asked all the time. That's how you know they're the right person. Now, another common impulse that people will have, is thinking, okay, maybe I could just wait. Maybe I could just wait this out and just, not spend the money. And, I just can't afford it. I just can't do it right now. And that's understandable. Look, you know your finances better than anybody. The way to look at this is a couple of things. Maybe finances aren't an option for you right now in this moment. But then here's the question. Okay, you're not willing to invest, or you can't invest in whatever it is, working with whoever, not just me, anybody, right? Working with whoever you feel is right. Now what? Okay, you can't invest. Now what do you do? Right? So if you're not going to invest, then what's the solution? Most people will say, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. All right, keep doing what you're doing. How is it going to be different than what you've been doing in the past, right? Because chances are you've already been doing it, right? A lot of people say this when they're wanting to work with us, right? They're like, hey, listen, I just can't do it right now. And we're like, that's no worries, no problem. We'll push it aside. What are you going to do in the meantime? And the answer is the same. I'm just going to continue watching Shaan's videos. Why would you expect to do the same thing, expecting a different result? And a lot of people make this mistake thinking that the problem is education. They think, okay, I just don't have the right anxiety knowledge. I just haven't seen the right anxiety recovery video. I haven't seen Shaan talk about this specific subject. And if I knew, I'd know how to respond. But a lot of times it's actually not a knowledge issue, right? It's an implementation issue. I'll give you an example. I have worked with fitness trainers in the past. Now, if you explain to me about general facts about nutrition, macros, counting calories, strength training, I know all this stuff. But what I found is that even though I knew all this stuff, physically, I wasn't really changing. I wasn't getting better. In fact, I was still overeating. I was still putting on weight. And so even though I knew all of it, and I would watch YouTube videos too, like trying to get a good idea, maybe trying a new exercise, all these things, really what it was is really more about applying it. And so once I hired a fitness trainer and, nutritionist, everything changed. They showed me the fundamentals of just small things. They just said, hey, look, you need to track your food. You need to measure yourself every day. And then we're going to be adjusting along the way. That was it. I didn't have to watch more videos on it, read more books on it, understand the biochemistry and the thermogenic effect of protein and all these things. I just needed somebody to just guide me along the way, right? And so the question for me was the same too. It's like, listen, why should I invest, right? There's all the content out there. Why can't I just do it? And so what I just did was I gave myself a time frame. I said, look, I'm going to try to do this on my own for a couple of months. If I don't see progress, or if I don't see change, then that's time for me to bring in a coach. And what happened was when I brought in a fitness coach, my life got a lot easier. It was kind of silly. I felt like I had too much information that was unnecessary. I had so much knowledge in my head that the coach had to dispel a lot of it or say, hey, yeah, that's true, but it's not relevant. That's just trivia knowledge that's unnecessary in this point. All you need to do is focus on this, train here, keep going, and just, weigh yourself. And honestly, recovery is like that too, right? People become such information junkies because they're doing it by themselves or they're watching these videos. And then they think that they're not getting better because they haven't watched enough videos. There were people out there that have recovered before anybody was talking about anxiety recovery, right? Like even when I started 5-6 years ago, people weren't talking about anxiety recovery. I literally felt like I was one of the only people. I know there was other people, I'm sure, but I'm telling you, most people did not talk about anxiety recovery. In fact, if you talked about even overcoming anxiety, most anxiety healers would come at you and say, why are you telling people you can overcome this? You can't. You can only cope or manage. Now there's more anxiety recovery info than ever before. That doesn't necessarily mean more people are recovering per se. More people are problem aware, but that doesn't mean that they're solution aware. Or even if they are solution aware, that doesn't mean that they know what the solution is. Solution requires implementation here. And so that's something to really consider when you're on the healing journey. It's like, okay, look, if you're going to do this on your own, do it, but then create a boundary of, okay, if I haven't gotten to where I need to be by a certain time, then I'm going to invest in myself. Now, the last thing I want to mention is a lot of people look at, for example, the Bye Bye Panic program, or working with a coach or a therapist or, a counselor or whatever it is, as a cost. And that's not the way to look at this here. Because look, I'm sure you understand this. If you don't have your health, if you don't have your well-being, nothing else matters in life, right? Everything that you get in life is built on the foundation of your well-being. And once you get this problem addressed, the question to ask is, what else in your life gets profoundly better, right? Everything in my life, from my relationships, my personal well-being, my financial well-being, almost every aspect, my career, obviously with the work I'm doing, everything got better because I got my anxiety squared away. I got this problem solved. So for me, anxiety recovery was never a cost. Oh, I've already spent so much money. It was always an investment. What I've gotten in return of getting this problem fixed, you can't even quantify it. You can't even quantify it. I could say, because I got this anxiety problem fixed, it wasn't just my life that transformed. I would say that a lot of people that watch this channel, I'm assuming this channel has helped you, right? So it wasn't even just an investment for myself. I had to do this for myself so that I could help others. I know it's difficult. And I know that it's still hard to navigate, especially because anxiety is so misunderstood and it's defined so differently. But it's really important to understand, like I mentioned, why hasn't these things worked in the past, all the things you've tried, okay? And then moving forward, if you do decide to invest in something, what makes this different? And getting explicitly clear of what that looks like and making sure that you know what you're signing up for. You're not doing an impulse buy. It's not a shiny object syndrome where you're trying something new. You're investing in it and you want to know how this is different. Then the next thing is realizing that if you don't want to do it on your own, that's fine, but be careful of turning into an information junkie, thinking that, okay, it's just lack of information that's holding you back. It's a lack of application. And be very specific here, right? Don't just say, okay, I need to be making some progress, because sure, you can make some progress, but was that progress fast enough, and was it worth the ROI of doing it on your own, right? So have clear boundaries there. And then if you do need to reach out, then do it, and then invest in yourself and look at this as an investment to yourself. The only thing that benefits is you, right? You can't even quantify this. Once you get this problem fixed, everything else gets better, right? That's not a cost, right? It's not like a car that, just depreciates over time. This is the opposite. I hope this gives you some clarity, and just recognize, look, most people in the healing journey are going to experience this thing. Most people I have found, honestly, rarely, maybe a handful of people manage to find the right solution in the very beginning. Most of the time, they have to try so many different things, even with so many people with so many resources. We have doctors, we have therapists, we have celebrities with some of the highest and the best doctors they had. Even they had to make a lot of mistakes before finding the right solution. So don't be surprised, and don't make it feel like it's somehow happening because you're unique, right? Don't come up with the wrong conclusion here. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.